Hello, Gassheads, and welcome back to the Rovers Report. Hope you all had a lovely Christmas and a nice New Year celebration. And welcome back. Before we get into the video, just want to say a quick something that this year, me and Tom are really going to be trying to get out regular uploads each week. Looking at different podcasts, different videos. I know we've said it before, but this year we're going to make a really big push. So if you are new around here and you want to have all things Rovers content, please hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment and please do like it if you enjoy the video. You join us today a couple of hours after Rovers have just beaten Cheltenham 2-1. Bit of a strange one for me, Wookie. Personally, I came away despite having won and getting the 3 points, moving up to 11th. I felt a little bit unsettled. There's a few things that bother me in that game, but I think first things first, we need to just say what an unbelievable strike force we have at the minute. Collins and Coburn both notching one each today. Collins getting another assist. And I can't think of many partnerships in my time of watching that are at these two levels, mate. So what did you make of the game?
Yeah, exactly, mate. It was a bit of an uninspiring and insipid second half, which I think outweighed what was a fairly average first half, to be honest, which is why I think overall was a little bit of a drab affair. I think two moments of brilliance from Collins sort of set us apart. Obviously, we went in to half time 2-1, 2-0 up, and then Beefy, with a pretty stupid mistake, gave Alfie May an opportunity to bring one back. Proved to be a consolation, but yeah, I think it's starting to worry me a little bit. The way we're defending, it's way too I think slack is the word. There seems to be times where we obviously don't want to concede, but the way we defend is so lazy that it's not ideal. And I think we'll touch on this perhaps in another video in terms of reinforcements, but it's becoming quickly obvious that we might need to bring in one or two players at the back.
Mm. Yeah. Well, that'll be our first topic after we just speak about Collins and Coburn a little bit. I think we've touched on it before, but they just seem to have it all. Do you know what I mean? And the chemistry is clearly there. Coburn's strong. He's physical. He's quick. He's very skillful as well. Collins, I think he continues to amaze me. For the second goal today, I was sat there watching it, and I thought, how has he got through those players?
Yeah.
He's got that ability to always just sort of like the ball's glued to his feet a little bit, and he makes these little dinks inside, plays it through opposition's legs. Do you think that we're going to struggle to keep him this January? Because for me, I feel like having tied him down for a 3-year contract, he seems very happy at the club. Obviously likes the regime that Barton's running, but we've seen this before. If a big offer was to come in, could he go? And what offer do you think would be an acceptable one for Rovers to accept?
Yeah, I think as you said, being only 6 months into a 3-year contract, probably on a fair wedge for a League One player. I think we mentioned the synergy that he has with Coburn at the moment as well. I think it would be silly for both parties to agree to him going in the transfer window. But if that does happen, I think we'd probably I think he commands a fee of at least 2.5 million. I think in this market, you have to say, what's that? 13 goals and 8 assists. I think 21 goal involvements in 22 games. Sorry, I think 25 games now in the league. So that's definitely a player that's worth, I think, at least a couple of million. But yeah, it would obviously smash the record transfer fee received by Rovers. But I think we'd be let's say keeping him and allowing him to sort of flourish with Coburn. As you mentioned, they've got a pretty synergized partnership at the moment. But at the same time, Coburn was in the press after today's win saying that um, it's only going to get better, this partnership. So just I think it would have to be a very, very good offer for us to let him go.
Mm. Yeah, I think we really need to sit back and appreciate these two because they're just brilliant at the minute. Yeah, for me, I think I can't really see it happening. I'm not sure why Collins would risk it. He'd have to up sticks to a new team, bed into a system. I think the Rover system perfectly suits him. Barton's given that license to sort of roam about the pitch. I can't really see it happening, to be honest. For you guys watching, let us know what fee you would accept, if you would accept any, and what the likelihood of you think of Collins leaving the gas this January is. Like we've said, I think it's unlikely, but want to hear your opinions. Yeah, moving from the positive side of the gas to, something that's been a bit of a bugbear this festive period, sort of been an Achilles heel for Rovers. And it's what you touched on, mate. It's the sort of the lackadaisical nature of our defence at the minute. And yeah, it's frustrating, isn't it? Because all three players isolated, Gibson, Connolly, and Bobby Thomas, all fantastic defenders. But at the minute, we just seem to be giving away a lot of sloppy goals, making stupid errors. Again today, you said, I'm not sure quite what Connolly was doing there. Just play the easy ball, and he's given it straight away, and this resulted in a goal. It's just frustrating, really. And I think a lot of gas heads have been calling for an experienced head. I agree. I think maybe someone in there, to shout to the boys, to tell them to keep it simple, stop messing around with it. But yeah, it's odd, isn't it? We haven't been accustomed to seeing these mistakes, and suddenly it's crept in.
Yeah, definitely. I think we have the third worst defense in the league in terms of goals conceded, which is obviously worrying. Um, I think yeah, it's just the sloppy errors that just keep creeping into the game. I said to the bloke who sits next to me today, I said, well, if we lose, it's obviously going to be our fault because I couldn't really see Cheltenham creating much. And to be honest, even though they had a lot of possession in the second half, they didn't create too many chances. I think Belly pulled off a good save from an Alfie May shot. But apart from that, I don't think they really troubled him. Yeah, it's just sort of like the lazy clearances, the lazy passes, sort of creeping into the game. It's quite frustrating, to be honest. If I were Belly, I'd be quite frustrated with the way I think some defending has occurred over the last few weeks. I mean, who would you, just off the top of your head, is there a particular player who you think we should bring in to sort of toughen up the defence? I know Connor Taylor's been mentioned.
Yeah, no, I think Connor Taylor is an obvious one for me. And, we've had this conversation in terms of experience. He's not an experienced player. And I really think we need that. Off the top of my head, I'd probably look at someone like Che Dunkley. I know he's not going to be available, but that's the sort of
Someone in the mould of Che Dunkley, yeah.
that sort of caliber of player. And don't get me wrong, that's not an easy thing to bring in. I would, if I was to guess, I imagine Barton will do what he normally does and assess his options, leave it later on into the window, and we'll probably be looking at another loan player from a Championship Premier League club, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe this defence needs more competition. I think it's pretty clear that Kilgour is not going to displace any of them, is he? So the three of them are pretty confident in the knowledge that their place is secure. Maybe Connor Taylor coming in will make them three-step their game up, and we might see an eradication of those mistakes. Something else I just wanted to touch on, mate, related to the defence is the ease that the opposition are having at the minute of the long ball and the flick-ons. Two of the goals against Exeter were directly from long balls, and our defence didn't deal with them. I know you felt pretty strongly about Connolly not dealing with that for the winner for Exeter. Vokes, I thought against Wickham, it wasn't a direct long ball going straight through, but one flick on from him, and they had a lot of space in our attacking zones. And the same happened again today. I thought Alfie May got a lot of space where really, as a back three, you should be clearing those balls up. And maybe it's something to do with the system that Barton's employing. He's very keen on this high press, and whilst that has its benefits, I think if I was him, I'd be looking on the training pitch to sort that out, because League Two is quite commonplace. League One is still quite commonplace, but you don't want to be conceding goals to stuff that's so easily avoidable, and we'll be kicking ourselves if we come to the end of the season and we're 4 or 5 points off the playoffs and it's come through long ball goals.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that when you play five at the back, when you play with wing backs sort of pressing forwards, there's a natural gap, isn't there, behind the sort of outside of the three centre halves. So, it's something that there are solutions to it. I think it's just a case of, even with a high line, you can still drop a few yards. I think that's what was the Achilles heel against Exeter. That with that fourth goal, if the defensive line is 5 yards further back, we win that header, and it's, they don't go on to score the winner. I think it's just little things like that. Obviously, the average age of our defence is probably 21. So, I think it's probably an experience thing. But I think just touching on Connor Taylor, I don't think his leadership skills are commensurate with age, as in,
Mm,
I feel like he had natural leadership skills. Obviously, at the moment, we have Coots and Finley in front of those defenders, but to have an experienced, for me, someone who has the equivalent of an experienced head in the middle is what they need, and that might be through Connor Taylor.
mm,
Um, so I'd be doing anything we can to bring him in, perhaps on loan, with a view to making it permanent if he does well in League One. Um, but what also I think, as you mentioned before we came on the call, is we're missing Geordie Rossiter at the moment,
mm.
100%.
Yeah, mate. I don't know if you want to touch on that. I'm happy to go, but if you've got something you want to say on that.
Yeah, I think it's probably, I think he's just a little bit quicker on the ball than Coots, and maybe he's not as expansive, but he just kind of does the dirty work in the background. It's been quite obvious since the Charlton game. I
Mm,
think that we've missed him, and he's going to be out until February time or so. With that in mind, maybe we should be also looking to bring in another midfielder for a little bit of competition. Perhaps it might have to be a young Premier League player who realistically might not play that many games once Rossiter returns. But I think it's obvious that we're missing someone who does dirty work that Rossiter does on a regular basis. So I think that's another element into the sort of decreased effectiveness of our defence in the last couple of weeks.
mm. Yeah, I think that's a really good point, actually, mate. And something which maybe we haven't considered is a lot of these balls that are getting through our midfield, and then the defence have to make a decision, and sometimes are messing up. Is perhaps that's the sort of balls that Rossiter clears up. Like you said, he's brilliant at doing that dirty work, and perhaps if he's been in the starting 11, we don't see many of those mistakes from our defence because it doesn't get through to them. I also think, like you said, his experience. I know personally, having played football and in some of those positions in defence, that if you've got an experienced header you trust completely in front of you, then it makes your job a lot easier. Um, Odd because today Coots and Finley, I'm sure the back three trust them, but maybe just the way the team was playing, and we weren't really changing the squad. Finley and Rossiter was the midfield, and maybe for some of our younger defenders, not having Rossiter in front of them screaming orders has sort of messed them up a little bit. But yeah, I think you're right. I would be looking to get another midfielder in, just because again, Mac is not really doing it. He came on today, few heavy touches, and I feel for the kid. He obviously is lacking confidence. We know what sort of player he can be, but as Barton often said, you've got to be ruthless in this game. And I'm not saying by any means get rid of him or anything, but whilst he's not performing well, let's bring someone in who's going to be young, hungry, going to get in that team and make an impact. Yeah, in terms of Rossiter as well, I think I noticed today especially we really weren't playing through the midfield, and that's to me that's something that could be easily rectified. It's just a change of mindset. When we were hanging on, and maybe it's because we were hanging on to the 2-0 victory, but we kept pumping it long. We brought Loft on, and whereas Coburn can offer you a little bit more to feet, I think with Lofty it is very much get it up into their half. Didn't really work for Lofty today. He didn't do anything wrong, but it bounced off him a few times, and just frustrating when you've got the ball playing midfielders of the likes of Coots, Evans, and Finley. Give it into feet, let Coots dictate the play. I was just confused, to be honest, as to why we were doing that. I don't know if you noticed that at all, mate, but it was strange.
Yeah, it was. I guess it was for me the ultimate risk aversion because throughout the season we've thrown away points where we've kind of sat back, but maybe we're four at the back.
Mm,
Played fairly defensively. On the flip side, against Exeter, we were still attacking, going all out attack, despite being 3-2 up, and that obviously came back to bite us on the backside. So I think it was sort of taking the opposite case to Exeter in terms of going ultimate. I'm not going to say part of the bus, but it
mm,
was obviously incredibly defensive. I think it was just to shore up the defence in a way that we haven't done so far this season when we've been leading. At the end of the day, it did work, but obviously it wasn't pretty to see. It wasn't good on the eye for the last sort of 10, 15 minutes, but I think it was a good decision to do so. But at the same time, it's sort of symptomatic of the fact that we should have been, I think, leading 2-0, or maybe even, I think if we don't concede that goal today, we obviously, I think, would have gone on to win 3 or 4-0 and
mm,
wouldn't need to be playing like that in the last 15 minutes. So I think it's symptomatic of a wider issue. It's not it's not a big issue, but I think it's just a couple of things need to be tweaked.
Yeah, no, you're right, mate. To be honest, because if we had continued to play that way and they'd nicked a ball in the midfield and scored, I'll be sat here lamenting Barton for telling them to play that way. So yeah, I think that's a good point from you actually, and yeah, maybe that was the correct thing to do. Maybe because it was so nervous, that's what's made me feel like it was the wrong. But you're probably right. And I think hopefully, I keep saying about this, our squad is learning lessons along the way as we go, and today was another lesson. These last three games we've taken the lead in each game. Two of them we've lost, and today we've won. And I think some credit has to go to the team. They've learned, like I said, they've learned their lessons, and you could see a bit more of the sort of the smarter play from our players, taking long with throw-ins, free kicks, buying a bit of time for us, and it's paid off. So from that front, it's great to see, and yeah, that's all I've got for this game, mate. If there's anything else you want to touch on.
No, I agree, mate. I think we're edging towards becoming masters of the dark arts again. So at the end of the day, I think it's something that you need in your squad. To be honest, it's not a nice thing to say, but I think we were a little bit more streetwise towards the end of the game, which was nice to see.
Yeah, and I've just got the fixtures up in front of me now, mate, and it's very interesting actually. With us being within touching distance of the playoffs, our next four games, all winnable for different reasons. We've got Cambridge away next weekend, which I think they're languishing. They're not in the relegation zone, but a couple of places above, I believe. So that's looks like a very winnable game. Then the week after that, we go away to Aki. Aki are in a poor run of form at the minute, and they are in the relegation zone on it. The Wham Stadium is typically somewhere we don't perform too well.
Yeah, the last time we went there was horrible, wasn't it? What was it, 7-1 or 5? No, 5-1, I think.
Something like that,
We
mate.
lost Colby Bishop and what's the other striker they had?
Not
The one,
one.
Dion Charles. Dion Charles.
Dion Charles, yeah.
The two absolutely tore us apart. I think we were 4-0 down after 20 minutes in the pouring rain, watching on iPhone during the COVID lockdowns.
I was going to say,
Oh,
every time I've been there, it's been pissing it down with rain. And stupidly, I bought tickets to the uncovered terracing. I'll be there again in 2 weeks' time. Not sure whether you will, mate, but hopefully, those two games, we should be looking at that and thinking 6 points from them. Then it's Wycombe at home, which that's never going to be an easy game. But having played them away only a couple of weeks ago, and matched them for most of it, I'd fancy it on our patch. And then after that,
yeah,
we go away to Morecambe, who I think they got a 5-0 victory today. So they're going to be high on confidence. But still, you look at the table, I think they're third or second bottom. So out of those four games, I mean, we would have said that about this festive period, and we've only come away with three. But if we play as well as we know we can, there's no reason we can't go and get 12 points then. I think 12 points puts us right in that playoff mix.
it would do, certainly. It's really tight at the moment, and some teams, like Exeter, for example, on really good form, maybe pushing for that as well. But if we come away with at least 3 wins from that block of 4 fixtures, then we will definitely be up there.
Definitely, mate. I know we're going to do another video, guys, probably within the next couple of days about who we think we should be bringing in, what changes we think we should be making to the squads, and perhaps any outgoings. So do keep an eye out for that. Let us know your thoughts on the game today. We want to hear what you have to say. I know it's been a bit of a pessimistic video. Don't get me wrong, we're very happy we've won, but it was a bit of a strange game. There's a few things that I think we could have done better today. But hey, it's not a bad start to 2023. Thanks for coming on again, Wookie. Leave a like if you enjoyed, guys, and we will see you next time.